day, everyone, and welcome to Obidient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Yes, there is hope, and the new Nigeria is possible. Now, good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending your time zone. Once again, today we are to discuss on the things happening in Nigeria, and we are going to look at the issue about what the Take It Back movement, and Sowore is acting for the Fearless in October protest. Yes, Sowore has called for this very particular Fearless in October protest, and several Nigerians, including the Take It Back movement, have said that this Fearless in October protest will be the End Bad Governance 2.0, meaning it's going to be more. Now, they have reviewed the times and locations for the upcoming protests, both in Lagos, Rivers, Kwara, and many other states. The nationwide demonstrations are designed to spotlight the urgent challenges of hunger and economic hardship faced by many Nigerians, for those of you who don't know. And these organizers hope to draw the attention of Chief Bola Tinubu's administration to the negative impact of its policies on the Nigerian people. Through this protest, participants are aimed to amplify their voices and demand action to address the pressing issues affecting their daily lives, which mostly is hunger. Organizers of the Fearless in October protest did announce the schedule and meeting as follows. The banners will be displayed as we continue to have this very discussion. They also posted in their X platform, but again, and they share details in their X handle specifying participants in Lagos should gather at Ikeja under bridge by 7:30 a.m. starting from October 1st, and in Rivers State, protesters are instructed to assemble at Pressure Park in Port Harcourt also by 7:30 a.m. through the whole day. And also they said the people from the Bronu will gather at Arewa Youth for Peace office on Damatru Road starting at 8 a.m. In Yobe State, demonstrators are set to meet at Damatru main roundabout located opposite the old motor park on the Meduguri Road with an arrival time of 8 a.m. Meanwhile, in Kwara State, the meeting point will be in the Ilorin post office under bridge, where protesters are also expected to assemble by 8 a.m. Several states, they outlined all of this, and the expectation is that the protesters in those locations and states are being announced should note where their starting points are. Now, with me to have all discussions, I have people, active Nigerians who wish to express their opinion and, of course, share their views on this Fearless in October. And but before we get to people who have joined us via Zoom, let's get the reactions of our own people on Twitter. We have the likes of Dante. Is bringing out here is the question of what is the average income of a household in Saudi Arabia, and they said answer to the question, Mr. Petrol Seller. Or as you know, Dangote has not told Nigerians how much they are selling this very fuel to Nigerians. But this is our reactions coming in as we move towards the protest discussions. Nigerian rulers are criminals according to this, thank you, Dere Parotimi, that you create yourself. He said, and they are extremely heartless. The minimum wage in Saudi Arabia that Alhaji Dangote is itemizing for Nigerians to emulate is approximately $1,000 US versus Nigerians $42 per month. That is if you are using the voiced 70,000 naira, which has not been implemented. Nigerians stand up and stop these people because they are mean. This is coming from this person, and that's why we needed to bring this up, because it has to also deal with the protest issue. Let's also look at the other reactions on this very particular tweet because we do have several Nigerians who had reacted to this very tweet. Again, let's now get, while we wait for the other tweet, let's get our people on Zoom who are waiting to talk on this October, Fearless in October protest. But before we go that, let's hear what Sowore actually told his co-organizers of this very protest, what he told them about even if he is imprisoned, if he is taken to anywhere, if they don't see him in 1 week, 1 month, as the case might be, that Fearless in October protest must happen. Let's take a listen to that before we get to the discussants on Zoom.
Struggle. Yeah. You guys have become more radical than myself. So anybody that is wasting his time plotting some plots, you are just wasting your time because Nigerians have reached a point where they are no longer afraid of death. Yes. Because the Tinubu regime has killed us with economic policies, with political policies. And those people who still believe that election can solve their problem, they saw it in Edo State yesterday. They packaged the election, the outcome had been determined, brought Wike's cousin to come organize the election. How do you expect you to win the election? Bring the former commissioner of police in Abuja, Bernard Igwe, to come and supervise the election, and you're expecting that the election will be free and fair. You are wasting your time. But the Nigerian people can decide that they want all this nonsense to end now. Yes. And all of us can come out in our huge numbers on October 1 all over Nigeria. Somebody asked me yesterday at a radio station, so how long is this one going to last?
Until we win.
Until we win.
We were in court. Me, when they placed Mr. Sowore on watch list, I was one of the person who genuinely felt he should not come to the country. Genuinely, out of genuine feeling that why will he come? You know, the country is not smiling. Our people who are in government, they don't get joy too.
And we man.
So I had to cut this short, but we've heard from Sowore who has said that whether they like it or not, they're proceeding on Fearless in October protest, and of course that if Nigerians think that election will be fair and credible in Nigeria without with the policies in place, that is not going to happen. So I have Mr. Bassi, I have Tony Ojo, and of course I have Christian all waiting to get their reactions into this very Fearless in October protest, which we are beaming our light on this evening. We have not discussed about protests for a while now, especially the Fearless in October, but we have 5 days to go. And it seems like the organizers are bent on making sure that Nigerians come out to the street. So my question to you out there, let me start with Mr. Bassi, is do you think that the Fearless in October protest will gather the kind of momentum and the crowd that is expected to achieve a certain level of result, given the policies that are not handed to? And that's one. Then the second one is whether the Tinubu-led administration is dialoguing with this way, because they always say youth should embrace dialogue rather than going into protest. But I've not seen any meaningful move towards dialogue with the organizers of this very protest. Even when Omoyele Sowore is in the country, so that they can actually approach him. So what is your take on this before we move to other things?
Thank you, Mr. Kanu. Good evening.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having me. Good evening, fellow Zoom panelists. Good day, Obidient and viewers across the world. It's not surprising that the Nigerian government, in their usual arrogance and calling a bluff, have not up till this moment make any effort to meet with the organizers of this protest. And remember, this protest started in August, and they were looking for organizers. Even when they knew who the organizers were, they were looking for them. And up till this moment, they have not made any effort to have a meeting with the organizers of this protest, despite the fact that they have received the 15-point agenda. That's the demands of the protesters, and they have done nothing about it. If you look into those request demand, none of them have been done, and they are not even willing to do it in their very arrogant manner, looking down on Nigerians, not concerned about the plight of Nigerians. They have made no effort. Rather, it's the well-meaning Nigerians who are making effort to have dialogue with these people, which to me has no effect. Because if government, who are the one running this country, are shying away from meeting with the organizers of these protesters, how do you then think people like Bishop Kuka will be able to, even if he has a meeting with them, can he make any commitment on behalf of government? He cannot. And then the same thing they are doing by also using the police to call them to have dialogue. Police can only dialogue when it comes to issue of security. But when it comes to the demand of the protesters, it is President Tinubu that should be the one to nominate whoever he wants to nominate, because since he's shy, he doesn't want to speak to Nigerian people. That is always his antics. Let him delegate someone who can nominate on behalf of the federal government. Because what Nigerians want to see is a relief in the economy, in the day-to-day living of average Nigerians. That is what Nigerians want to see. All this talk here and there by government coming out to say, oh, economy has picked up, we are recovering, using NBS to, hoodwink Nigerians, telling Nigerians that everything is okay, we are on the path of recovery. If economy is recovery, you will feel it in the day-to-day life of Nigerians by the cost of things in the market. But we are not seeing that. What we are seeing is that the cost of average item in the market has gone up from the day compared to the month of August. So how do you expect Nigerians to survive, to live through this situation? Every Nigeria, every day we are just living by. Nobody knows what is going to happen the next moment, because that is how the government has reduced Nigerians to. So I had expected them before now to have a meaningful dialogue and see how they can resolve some of these things. And don't forget, some of those requests, demand, were short-term. They are demand that ought to have been done before now if government were committed to doing it. But, in their normal arrogance, looking down on Nigerians, calling a bluff, they will not do it because they believe Nigerians will not do anything, regardless of the fact that whatever is going on, there's a protest warning or protest notice. They know that Nigerians will not do anything. But you see, what I want to tell government is that when you continue to underrate Nigerians and you think nothing will happen, you are doing it at your own risk. Because someday you would think they will not do anything. Someday they will do something. So it will be in the interest of the government to engage the organizers of this protester and find a lasting solution to some of these issues. You did mention how Dangote was talking about the cost of fuel, comparing Nigeria with Saudi Arabia. You see, these people are callous. When it comes to issue of that will benefit them, they will compare Nigeria with other countries. But when it comes to issues that will benefit Nigerians, I mean, they will begin to, foot drag and tell Nigerians, no, this is how things are. You saw that analysis that was released there. Saudi Arabia minimum wage is $1,000. Vis-a-vis Nigeria's minimum wage, $42. Isn't that callous for anybody to use that to compare Nigeria with Saudi Arabia? So we are facing capitalists, and then we are facing arrogant government who don't want the best for this country, who don't want Nigerians to breathe. So I'm back to the organizers of the protest. Let them go ahead and do what they have to do. And I'm calling on Nigerians to join the organizers of this protest and register their displeasure over the way Nigeria is running the affairs of this country. Just, I read on the paper today, our vice president, in this address to the UN National Assembly, General Assembly, sorry, he was begging for debt relief. How can you go and do that when you are wasting, stealing the money that is available for you, and you are going to ask people to
debt relief,
to give you debt relief? Who does that? Isn't that a mockery on this nation?
Let me also argue, there is two things I read in the news today that maybe you did see. One is of Tinubu spending another 9.2 billion naira to purchase state house vehicles in 3 months. And this is coming out from that gov.spend, where they bring out all the expenses that are being. So if they continuously spend this kind of money, 9.2 billion to purchase state house vehicles. So even when we are still talking about the hardship, they are still purchasing vehicles. That's on one part. Maybe you got the news too. Then the other part is there's a story that says they keep pointing to the expensive nature of PMS, that is fuel, outside the other neighboring African countries. But they forgot Libya. There's a story I read that fuel, which we of course call the PMS, is being sold for like 60 naira in Libya. Is that correct?
52 naira. 52 naira.
52 naira.
Yes.
Please tell our audience just 1 minute. Let them understand that.
No.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we are saying. A government that is seeking debt relief, goes about spending extravagantly, lavishing as if things are okay with you. Which reasonable government will listen to you? So this is what we are saying. All these people are doing is how to borrow money and fund their expensive and ridiculous lifestyle. This is what they do at the detriment of Nigerians. If all the money that this government have borrowed have been put into the real sector, Nigeria would have come out of this crisis by now. But we know that this money ends up in the pockets of few who are in government. So how do you expect the creditor countries, the creditors, to give you debt relief. It's not possible. So this is where we are. We've not shown that we can manage our economy, our finances with probity. We've not shown that we can manage our economy prudently. So we shouldn't be asking for debt relief from our creditor countries, our creditors. So this is what it is. And then for the issue of petroleum price, and you will see that they will never compare Nigeria with Libya, but rather they will compare Nigeria with Benin Republic. They will compare Nigeria with Niger. They will compare Nigeria with Chad. You know, but they will not compare Nigeria with Libya. You see how quick they were to compare Nigeria with Saudi Arabia. Because what are they trying to drive home? They are trying to drive home the fact that, oh, petrol in Saudi Arabia is much higher than what is sold in Nigeria. That's where they are. But rather than looking at Libya, that is an African country, which is next door neighbor there, which you should also use as an example. And we all know that in Libya, their social welfare scheme is top notch. That when you are not, as soon as you don't have an employment, government pay you salary in Libya. So what are we doing to our own unemployed youth? Are we doing same? No. The question is no. So there's no basis for comparison. They are only doing that because they want to misinform Nigerians and make it look as if Nigerians are the most unreasonable set of people. So this is where we are as a country. And Nigerians need to rise up and take their destiny into their hand. Because if you're waiting for this government to lead you out of this situation, you will wait for eternity. This is my message this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bassi. Let's quickly take on our own... Tony. Mr. Tony, quickly, we understand the last time the Students' Union called that they will be setting up for a protest come September 15th. We didn't see that happen across Nigeria. And we also see the people that say that they are unemployed youths initiative in Abuja, who also gave a timeline of, I think, September 22nd to commence their protests against hardship in Nigeria. We didn't see that also happen. Do you think at this very point that Take It Back Nigeria and Sowore are all moving for the Fearless October? Do you think that this very protest can potentially get the required number of Nigerians out in the street to actually activate government to heed to their demands?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Kanu, and I'm glad to be here. Welcome, our viewers, wherever you are listening from. The students, you remember that there was another group, I think they paid them or something, that countered the initial announcement by the students. Another group of students came up and said they are not participating. Now, what happened? We all can make a guess, because the people you are dealing with are very, very efficient in propaganda, bribery, and all sort of intimidation you can ever contemplate. So I think that's the big issue we have concerning demonstrations and protests in this country, particularly in this present government, because they've perfected ways and means of countering any emerging protests or demonstrations. But these people in Take Back Nigeria are very, very dogged. I think they are They are very determined, and they're going to proceed, in my own opinion. Because notwithstanding the intimidations and the arrests and the verbal abuse by this government, and all the money they spent paying people to counter that August protest, these people went ahead and showed Nigerians that things can be done if we are determined. This time, I think they're going to go ahead. It will work because they are very dogged, and their leader, Sowore, is now in the country. So that gives them that edge. On the other hand, we are dealing with a government that doesn't listen to its citizens. They believe that they have the resources and the will to do whatever they want to do to stop any protest from taking place. Now, these people have actually, these people that hijacked the state, this state capture perpetrated by this select few, that their character is very, very questionable. Look at them. Look at their backgrounds. And these are the people that are lording it over the rest of Nigerians. And they have created a deep state in this country. They've surrounded the state resources, the state apparatus by themselves. And they are very buoyant and very determined to subjugate the rest of us, to make us feel that we are nothing. And they are proud of that. They're boisterous about what they're doing, not knowing that every day is for the thief, they say, but one day is for the owner. So the Take Back Nigeria protest, I think if they can continue, not just for one day, but maybe intermittently, organize a protest. Maybe people, after we are going to go through this mess, because it's not abating, it's not stopping tomorrow, may join in subsequent protests. And that may bring more Nigerians out to the streets to demand a fair share of our resources, a fair share of governance, that we are the citizens and we deserve a whole lot better. That's my opinion.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tony. We understand that there is hardship. Chief Bola Tinubu also said he understands that the Nigerians are on hardship, but spending 9.2 billion naira to purchase another state house vehicles in the last 3 months amid this hardship is something else. Now, Mr. Christian, I'm going to give you the mic to tell us your thoughts on this very economic policies of Chief Tinubu that is the root cause of the hardship in Nigeria, and what's your thoughts on the fearless in October, given the fact that the previous one seems not to have gathered the steam, the second one, the other ones that were called for never had. Do you think that the government is relying, instead of dialoguing with the people who are calling for this fearless in October, they are relying on their ability to always bring a counter protesters and also intimidation of Nigerians protesting? What are your opinion and thoughts on this quickly?
Yes, good evening, you listeners, wherever you are listening from. I'm particularly surprised that I saw the name of Father Kuka as intermediary member of the committee because I expect that he should be in the know that the Tinubu administration is not sincere about commitment to the people of Nigeria, and that they're only using that means to rubbish his personality. I will advise that he washes his hand off that committee because Tinubu has not shown to Nigeria in any way that is being remorseful. Rather, is adding more salt to the injury. He continues to increase the hardship in every aspect. He increased electric tariff. He is increasing petroleum prices by the day. So he has not in any way shown that he is remorseful and that he truly cares about the Nigerian populace. So as far as I'm concerned, I encourage every Nigerians to join hands and be on the streets on October 1st because there is no hope in this hopeless administration.
Okay, thank you very much, Christian. What did you...
Something to add on the issue of Tinubu, even while we're on hardship, he's spending another 9.2 billion naira on purchase of vehicles again. And of course, the issue of Dangote's fuel, the transparency has not been there. NMPC said they are getting these fuels from Dangote at 800 and something naira. And they also mentioned some time ago before Chief Bola Tinubu left for China that they were told by Chief Bola Tinubu to subsidize half price to Nigerians. Now that they have mentioned that the prices gotten from Dangote is at 800 and something naira, why are they not applying that measure at least to show concern and also to show Nigerians that they don't want any form of protest, they need dialogue, at least dealing with one issue at a time?
Okay, I think maybe Christian is... Oh, Christian, are you there? Okay, at this point, thank you so much.
All our discussants today, from Mr. Basi to Tony and to Christian. But to our viewers out there, want to thank you so much for being out there, for us always coming to listen to what we had to say. But then, the protest on Fearless in October that is being promoted by Sowore and Take It Back Niger, we believe that it is a good way to, for people. It is a constitutional right of Nigerians to protest. However, we also look at the whether Nigerians will turn out for this very protest in their numbers, because without getting the numbers, the federal government may not look at the hardship or may even not look at it. Because as we see from the Edo state election, we see they are all happy, shouting for joy, being glad that they did succeed on weaponizing the poverty in Edo state. As a result of that exercise, it was not Edo decides that you see in the mainstream media everywhere, people talking about Edo decides. No, it was about the bribery that decided the Edo state election as a result of poverty, as a result of hardship on Nigerians inflicted by the Tinubu-led administration. So if we still want to let October go, well, we're in Nigeria and we will face it. So that's all we have for now. But there is something coming from Deji Adeyanju, who mocks Tinubu's led government for fooling Nigerians, especially the First Lady of Nigeria for taking advantage of the hardship in Nigeria and mocking Nigeria. And that is what we'll be bringing up next, and that is what we'll be calling it a day. So thank you so much for watching, and we believe you listened to Deji Adeyanju on how he spoke eloquently about all of this. things that we've discussed about. Let's take a listen, and of course, bye for now, till tomorrow.
And I must also add that the productive sector of our economy are the young people. And these young people, they don't use siren, they don't use convoys, and also they are not even captured in the economic indices of our country. Let me give you a simple analogy how doomed this country is. You see, among the police, only 13,000 police officers are engaged in fighting banditry and terrorist activities. 13,000. But go to the first CID, go and check. You can even use FOI to check this. 130,000 are following big men up and down. 130,000 are following big men up and down. In the Senate alone, and that's Senate and House of Reps, alone, there are 3,600 police people attached to these jobless senators and House of Rep people. Why will insecurity not persist in the country? If you see one small boy, just because he does Yahoo, he commands 4 or 5 policemen. That's why the country is fucked. I'm sorry to use the word, the F word. The country is doomed for real, and there's no coming back from it. Any nation where the police, the SSS, the army are subcontracted to politicians instead of policing the nation can never work. Forget about this cosmetic surgery and all these things. And believe me, as we are here, I can assure you that there are more than 200 conferences going on in Abuja right now. Nothing comes out of these conferences. Absolutely nothing. If you go to Merit House, if you go to Transcorp, if you go to Sheraton, if you go to Ibro Hotel, even here, I think there are about 4 or 5 conferences going on here today. These are conferences, you print conference material, they do flyer, they do banner, we are wasting time in this country. Nigeria needs active citizens who will just wake up early in the morning on a faithful Wednesday or Thursday or Friday and occupy the entire nation and demand for reform and demand that these armed robbers, these buccaneers who are in the National Assembly, that they must stop stealing. A situation where you have the national budget, and 80% of the national budget is stolen. Is stolen. Blatantly stolen. And you expect me, you tell me that things can work. A situation where in a country, somebody stands in a church and says, lion carried him on his back. And people actually believe. People believe. So how do you want such a nation to work? And again, can you really blame them? You can't blame them because go and check all nations of the earth where governments have failed. People turn to God and religion. That's why you see people. Are you not surprised that Nigerians are calling on God of Israel, but Israel is calling on Iron Dome for protection? So, having said that, it's also important to say that if not for social media, where will we have been able to see the Akpabios of this world that will tell citizens and insult them that while you are protesting, I'll be eaten? You know, if not for social media, how would we have seen Abelo resisting arrest by EFCC? If not for social media, how will we have been able to see the First Lady fooling around planting something in her backyard, and that is the only way to develop an economy? If not for social media, how will we have been able to know the abracadabra of Dangote and the NMPC and all their wuru-wuru? If not for social media, how will we have been able to see the miracle of off your mic? You remember when the other man was accused of stealing 80-something billion naira. And he suddenly, immediately they started asking him questions in the National Assembly. He fainted. You know, if not for social media, how will we have been able to see the exposure of tribal bigots online who tells Igbos not to vote in Lagos in their own country on election day? If not for social media, how will we have been able to see the level of brigandry during elections and electioneering, where Edo election is just coming up in a few days. The last election in Edo, a reporter was reporting that APC is sharing 5,000. PDP is sharing 5,000. Everybody is collecting and everybody is happy. If not for social media, how will we have been able to see those unethical practices? Again, if not for social media, how will we have been able to see the young man from China who exposes corruption and skill, the lecturer from Kanu, Dambelo, who is Tulumbu's friend? If not for social media, how will we have been able to see that? If not for social media, how will we have been able to see the APC national chairman, Gandola, stuffing his Babariga with dollars? This is what they want to regulate. Don't allow them to regulate social media. Social media remains the conscience of the citizenry. If not for social media, how will you have been able to know that they have renamed Nigeria Federal Republic of Rice? Every problem, they believe that rice is the solution. If not for social media, finally, I know my time is up, and I'm so sorry. If not for social media, how will we have been able to harness the power and the dynamism of the youth during End SARS, End Bad Governance, and other social changing events? Social media has become a tool of mobilization. The reason why the government is so scared and why they did everything humanly possible to stop protests and agitation is because they know. And the reason why they target social media is because they know the power that social media wields, and they intend to stop the power. And in closing, if not for social media, how will we have been able to know all the exposures of corruption in the society?